Um, First thing I want to say, I'm really, really thankful to be here and to have been invited by In Place of War. And through what I'm going to say, you're going to see how thankful I really have to be for this organization, because all the opportunities and possibilities we had. And I'm really thankful also to Rodney P, because he said he was nervous on stage, so I can be nervous. If he was nervous, I can be fucking nervous. So, as Ruth already said, we are normally a band of 3 people. It's just me now alone. So I'm going to give you first a quick introduction of what usually you expect, or you can expect when you see a concert of SYMBIZ. And as soon as I get this organized here, there is... Oh, here we go. This is the band. Make a warm round of applause for the band, ladies and gentlemen. So this is me, as you can see. This is my brother Chris, my older brother, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time, to have a band with your brother. And this is C, our vocalist, and we do play bass-heavy music. What we like to do is we produce music and we play live concerts. And normally we do this with a big self-made controller. I couldn't bring it, so I just have these board ones here. But I'm going to show you what it looks like, because it's beautiful. And we have this controller here. It looks like this. And it's self-made and has all these beautiful Japanese arcade buttons that don't have any real advantage compared to buttons like this, for example. But they just look nicer and feel nicer. And what we do with this, we play some music that is generally can be considered maybe bass music, with like drum-oriented, dancing-oriented music with a strong Caribbean influence. And I'm going to try to fake like a little performance with the controllers that I have without my colleagues. And we're using Ableton Live. I don't know, do you want to see this? Not much happening there that you can see, but you can see it if you want. And I chose a song that, no, I can't do this because I can't see it here anymore. Wait 1 second. It's not much for you to see, but I need to see the little that is there. I chose a song because I'm going to start it here like this. As Ruth said, we met in Venezuela, in Caracas, and it was really a coincidence because we got invited by a band. I didn't know that there was going to be this conference, and we met Ruth, and it turned into a really good friendship and a lot of very, very good opportunities. Also, I found my wife that I married. And so I told you, like, In Place of War and Ruth and all this around really changed my life. So I'm going to lay down this microphone. Oh, one thing that you have to know, normally I'm not going to be standing. Normally how this works is like this. Everybody put your hands up and you jump around. So I'm not going to do this now, but you have to imagine it, all right?
Fuego es fuego es fuego es fuego es fuego es candela, fuego en las manos, fuego en la sangre de mis hermanos. Fuego es candela, fuego en las manos, fuego en la sangre de mis hermanos.
you get the rough idea. And you have to imagine this normally goes for approximately 75 minutes, and there's the belly button rule. That means if you don't sweat from here till the belly button, you did something wrong. Like so now this isn't full screen. How do I make it stop? Okay, here we go. So I'm here. I was invited to talk not necessarily about only what we do, but also about not only what we do as a band, but also the projects that we did. Oh, but I forgot one last thing. I'm really sorry, because I need to show you what this is in reality like. Because normally I'm not alone with 3 people. It's sweating to the belly button or further. And there's this video here. This was filmed last weekend in the Fusion Festival. If you ever make it to Germany to one festival, go to the Fusion Festival. And this is another Venezuelan influenced song. It's called Actitud Costeña. And it was kind of like this. So you get the idea, it's very different than now. So what we like to do is, first of all, play these concerts, you know, this is the only sport that I do, it keeps me fit for my life. But also we produce a lot of music, and we love to travel and play concerts and produce music with and for other people. And what is great about traveling, of course, I mean, it's like probably nobody really needs to discuss about what is great about traveling, but what is especially great about traveling if you're invited as an artist is that you're not just a random tourist when you arrive. You know, I used to travel with a backpack with long dreadlocks and flip-flops and being all hippie, trying to find like the authentic India. And in reality, all you find is like other long dreadlock guys with flip-flops that are looking for the authentic India, no? Which is beautiful too, but it's not really, it can have like a cultural value because you meet people from, let's say, there's a lot of Israelis in India, for example. But you don't really get in touch with the locals of the place that you go to. Whereas if you're invited as an artist, you're automatically mainly in touch with people from the place where you're going to, because the organizers of an event tend to be from that place. No? So, the second thing is that because when you're coming as an artist, you have something to offer. Because like backpacking is a beautiful thing, but it's essentially, it felt to me after a while that it's a very egoistic thing. It's just about me trying to find myself or whatever, or see the beautiful world, but I don't really have anything to offer. But when you come to play concerts, or even better, when you come to make a project and you collaborate with local people, you get the chance to return something. And then while doing this, there's another point that is really important, is you learn a lot. Like you can, I mean, I went to university, I studied something with culture and, you know, but the real things that you learn is, for example, talking about the university, we had a salsa band, and we would learn to play salsa from sheet music. I was playing the bass, you know, it's like, dum, 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 dum. But really understanding it was when we were in Caracas, and you see like real salsa bands play, and you see how people react, and you see that half of the arrangement is improvised, half of the things that people do are, everybody understands the lyrics, it all makes sense, it's not just an academic pair dance as we do it in Germany. So you learn a lot. And another example was playing the first time in Zim, because we love dancehall music. No? It was the first music that I ever danced to in the club was dancehall, Jamaican dancehall. And when we 2 years ago, when we made it for the first time to Zim, it was the first time we played in front of a fully, like a crowd that grew up with dancehall in the radio. This doesn't happen in Germany, you know? And I always And really, this for me, this was a life-changing experience. And I want to show you just a little bit an excerpt from this video footage. This was 2 years ago in Glendora. Is a how do you say high density area in Harare. And what was especially beautiful about this was during the day, so there was children and people of all ages there. And in Germany, people don't. I mean, the festivals are nice. People can go crazy, but not like that. Even singing the lyrics wrong. Professional fade out. And there's a couple of things that were why I'm saying this was like a game changer for me, is that first of all we saw it a couple of times before, but to see that what we do works kind of everywhere. Everywhere we had the chance to go to Venezuela. We played a tour in Palestine. We were all over Europe. We played in Zimbabwe. And you could see that. I think, like, people say music is a universal language. I think that's not really true. I think it's a language that is spoken everywhere, but there's not one kind of music that everybody understands. But what most people understand in the concerts that we play is when we jump around and we make like an energetic show, and we try to make people cheer and be down with us. And it feels like if you look at the smiling faces of people, and later you could see the kids singing Yeru, it was just brilliant, especially because Yeru is a word that we invented. It doesn't mean anything. It's just we were joking around about this fake Asian accent, because we're all Asian looking, but actually German. And I don't think it exists anywhere, but we put a U at the end of every word. So buddy would be Badisu, and Chris would be Krisu, no, like this. And then yeah turned into Yeru. And we thought it was kind of funny to make a song about this, and then we needed kind of a context for, we had the drop, and then we thought, let's make it sound like a South African choir, no? So we did this, and we were kind of not sure if that was really a good joke, or maybe if it was inappropriate or something. And then when we played it, and we saw, I mean, it's not South Africa, no? But we saw people that were knowing maybe by heart much more than we do back home, like South African choir music. They would appreciate it a lot. The kids would sing it afterwards. We thought, okay, this is really, you can do whatever you want as long as you mean it well, no? Does it make sense somehow? All right. So the other point is, of course, like, because I said before, like, backpacking can be essentially egoistic somehow, because it's only about yourself. The collaboration thing and the learning part, of course, goes in both ways, I believe. Like, I hope that, I mean, we've been influenced by a lot of people that we met traveling, and I hope that is the same way around too, that people will say, man, you guys, I met these guys from SYMBIZ and they were really sweet. And when we went the second time to Zimbabwe was this September. We collaborated with ABBA, who was mentioned a couple times before, and I want to show like a small excerpt from a documentary that Max did. Max was there, filmed yesterday, and this shows just a small part about how we were recording with her, and I think it reflects the vibe well, in a way that it's not a pretentious situation where we, you know, it's kind of an improvised situation, but that really makes you come together somehow and get a greater value out of it, possibly. Oh.
Where we exchanged cultures and languages, because the chorus is in Ndebele, and the Germans were actually singing Ndebele, which was like very nice.
Hewena means hey you, and then it's Chonapat, it's get down. Get down. What is Suruku fire? I think it's let's get popping.
We recorded in the lodge where we were staying. The good old-fashioned way. We took everything out of the closet, put like a blanket inside, put the microphone inside, and then we recorded like that.
It's a good recording booth.
The whole session went very smooth, no? Like we would like clean very fast, and it was very easy with her.
It's crazy, like the quickness.
So I don't know. I will continue later if we have time. I'm going to play the final song. Or you want to hear the final song? Yes. See, that was a rhetoric trick. It's here. And it was very interesting for us because we tried to do like some quiet or SA house style beat, which was the first time we did it, and it's very.
Maybe I did probably like maybe also mention where we're from.
I have to say, Awa is incredible, really. I cut the video when Chris just says she's incredible, so I'm saying it now, and because it was really easy to make a connection with her, and she was she has this crazy energy, and when we were there, she never flew actually. No, she for some reason, it doesn't matter. She couldn't take the bus to Harare for the festival, so we put money together to buy a flight for her. So she flew for the first time, and her excitement was really, really nice. And then she came a couple of weeks ago. She came to Berlin for the first time, and she played a show there, and it was very chaotic, and she was very nervous, and it was a room like this size, full of people, and she absolutely killed it, rapping in a language that probably most of the people in the room never actually heard of. Nobody knew that Ndebele existed, no? And she still did it, so. And she's gonna come here also. And later, again, to Germany. So really, this is something like on the basis of an individual where the work of and place of war could really make some connections that helped her to be able to travel around, to go to different places. When she was in Berlin, there was another band performing. They immediately said, please come to the studio with us. So she made another connection outside of that circle. So it's actually really, really cool. Am I okay with the time? I'm talking a lot, no? It's okay, all right. So this whole collaboration thing was something that we always did a lot, because when we started the project, it was actually that we had electronic beats, Chris and me, and we tried to find a way to perform them that it was more interesting for us than just DJing it, because we thought if we have all the sounds, the single tracks, why would we limit ourselves to only being able to change the whole track? rather than changing just the drums or the single parts. And because we didn't have a singer on our first album, we recorded with different singers from different, so we had like 11 different singers from 7 countries, from 4 continents, and it's really something that brings you to have new ideas, and it really enriches the music. The reason why this is possible, I think, 2 years ago, Ruth asked me if I could contribute a text about, it was called Artists of the Revolution. And I sat down at home and said, sure, I'm going to do it. No? And then I thought, like, we are so not revolutionaries, actually. We're coming from a like bourgeois, small-town German background. Like, my father was a judge. I went to university. I'm so not revolutionary. But then I thought maybe in this text, I thought, like, okay, what is maybe revolutionary in a way is our times, because what the definition of a revolution somehow is a radical change in power somehow and in organizational structures. And I think the internet and the technology of our days makes that possible. Not in the sense of like overthrowing governments. It can maybe do that. I mean, it did do that too, but in like on an everyday basis. So the technology really makes it possible to make these collaborations, to keep in contact. You know, like I regularly write through WhatsApp with Awa, just like bullshit, like how you doing? Making a joke about, you know, like, but it's like keeping up a friendship that makes it possible. And funny enough, Ruth, are you in the room? Look, I got this Facebook message yesterday morning from Tej Bra, is a guy from India, a manager, and he says, buddy, hope everything is good, dude. I managed this dude, Nuclear. I knew Nuclear before. An Indian global bass producer. We have a new album coming out in September and wanted to explore doing a collaboration with you guys. So the main sentence is this: take a listen and let me know if you might be interested in a collab. And I wrote, morning Tej, and then the screenshot is cut, but I wrote something like, yes, of course, send it over. And this is how it can be done. He's in Bombay, or Mumbai, and I'm at the moment in London, and we can set up to make a collaboration, which is brilliant, no? And it's something that we cannot take credit for. You're saying 5 minutes or high? And it's something we cannot take credit for, but it's something we have to acknowledge that this is, I mean, I guess it's very obvious to all of you, but it's something that I thought I should still mention in my talk. So I'm going to come to an end, and I think this whole internet how do you say democratizing? Yeah, democratizing the consumption and production of music is something that bears some danger somehow. I remember when Gangnam Style was big, you know, like I was in the same year I was in Venezuela, and I was I think in India also, and everywhere you could hear Gangnam Style, and you think like, okay, is it cool that everybody listens to the new Beyonce track, or is it kind of leveling out the global music taste? But then on the other hand, I think it's cool because it means that we have, everywhere you go, everybody has the same internet. Not everywhere, but in most places people have this, theoretically, if they know how to use proxies, they could have the same internet, let's say. And this means that the knowledge about the mainstream music of the world kind of is the same. So in a lot of places, so it makes it much easier for people to connect, and this is what we do a lot. And I think that globalization has been criticized a lot, and there's a lot of horrible stuff happening in the globalized world and because of the globalized world. But I think this collaboration stuff, this can be the good side of globalization. No? We can be the people that can maybe not like make the greatest change in the world, but we can change how people think on a personal level. I heard a lot about the racist outbreaks here after the Brexit decision, and there was things like this happening in Germany after all the refugees arriving, you know, and people like feeling like, okay, we are under attack, so we have the right to like openly like pour our racist shit all over the place, you know. And what I noticed is that the people that are most racist and most ignorant are the ones that don't know. I mean, ignorance means not knowing. And if you have there was always this in the 90s, it was a very racist time in Germany, and people would say like, I hate all the Turkish people, but you, Ali, you're cool because you're my friend. And they didn't understand that this was actually super dumb and very racist. And I think as soon as people start to have personal connections, they start to question their general beliefs. Because how do you know how the refugees from Syria are if you never met a person from Syria? You don't know. No, so I think this is what we can do. What I guess all of you can do also, being the good side of globalization and connecting people on a personal level, because that really changes somebody's heart. Sounds cheesy, but it's true. You can clap for that one. So I think that's about it. That's all I have to say. And I don't know, does that make sense to you? It makes sense, okay. So I want to say thank you very much for inviting me, and here's your host, Ruth Daniel.
Give it up for Buddy from SYMBIZ.